Hi, I'm George Nordhaus. Welcome to Monday Morning. Auto insurers advancing highway safety. Well, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is something that all of us have seen on the radio, on television, and all kinds of places, but we never really knew what it was all about. And I didn't realize there was also a Highway Loss Data Institute. Anyway, I called them because I figured agencies really need to know this. And Russ Rader, who's the Senior Vice President for Communications, worked with me, and he's going to tell all about that. So, Russ, welcome aboard. Here's your picture. He was a communications guy. He is a communications guy, actually. And you can see he's a Nebraskan, good old Western guy, a boy. And he has, for the last 15 years or so, he's been the one that everybody goes to on, well, any kind of public relations, marketing, and that kind of stuff. So having said that, Russ, I thank you on behalf of all of us to let us know about the Insurance Institute, and I'll let you take it from there.
Well, thanks very much for having me, George. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I hope once we finish the presentation that everyone will have a better understanding of what the Institute is and some of the work that we do.
Good.
There are actually two organizations, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and the Highway Loss Data Institute. Both of them share the mission of reducing deaths, injuries, and property damage from crashes on the nation's roads. IIHS does that through its safety research. HLDI also does safety research. Also, they collect and publish insurance claim data. And both organizations are supported wholly by the automobile insurance industry.
Wow.
And this is a list of the companies and the associations that fund us. And George, this list represents about 85% of the insurance industry in the U.S., the auto insurance industry.
Oh, I can see them. You can see Progressive and State Farm, the big guys, and all states of the world and all that. Yeah, it's everybody I've ever met is on there for sure.
All the big companies and many medium-sized and smaller ones as well. This is a little bit about just geographically where we are. We are based in Ruckersville, Virginia, near Charlottesville, where our Vehicle Research Center is. That's the photo on the left. And then some of our research staff, about 40 staff members, are located in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our activities, we are an organization that doesn't lobby, legislate, or litigate. We're not involved in any of that. We are empowered by the insurance industry to do aggressive research and communications, to find ways to reduce crashes, make our roads safer, and influence the debate, influence policymakers, automakers, and the public to improve safety on our roads.
Got it.
Some of what you see in, as you mentioned earlier, George, our aggressive communications program gets us our information out to the public through news releases, films. We do testimony, things like that.
You know,
these are all.
I was just going to say, so it's such interesting stuff that if I were a television station or a big one or whatever, I'd love this because it goes to the heart of the matter. We are all driving and we all need the help. So, but I mean, exactly. All I'm saying is it's a great subject to do for sure.
And these are the areas that we focus in our research. We can influence and prevent crashes from happening. We can have input on people, their behavior, through laws and policies. We can have influence on vehicles to make them safer and more crash-worthy, and so that they have features that can prevent crashes. We can also influence the roadway environment. We do research to look at what makes road design safer. Mm-hmm. And over on the right-hand side, you can see all the losses that we are targeting. Injuries, deaths, property damage are the main ones.
I didn't realize that you guys actually did help with our design roads or roundabouts and stuff like that. That's neat.
Exactly. That's a key way that we can reduce crashes in rural areas as well as in urban areas. And this is some of the results of our research on people changing driver behavior. We were instrumental in starting the Click It or Ticket campaign, which started in North Carolina and then went nationwide to get more people buckled up. We've done a lot of research on graduated driver's licensing systems to keep teens safer. We do research on automated enforcement, alcohol impaired driving. And as we were just mentioning, roads are safer because of our research on signal timing, installing roundabouts instead of intersections, which makes roads safer because they cut down on crashes. Other kinds of roadway designs that can really be low-tech ways that we can improve safety.
I guess, a lot of us just take these things for granted, like that rumble strips. Boy, those really get your attention when you're going off. And I didn't realize that you guys were involved in that. Oh, that's very interesting. Keep going. It's going great.
And vehicles are safer. The research that we've done over the last 50 years includes things like fuel tank integrity and rear-end crashes. We in the insurance industry were instrumental in getting the first airbags in vehicles, which are now something we all take for granted as well.
How about that?
And research on other areas, not just the cars, but also the things cars crash into, like the backs of large trucks. We can make them safer to prevent terrible underride crashes like you see there on the lower left, and technology like electronic stability control, which can help prevent crashes.
What are we going to do on these automated, I know you guys are into it, probably helping them, automated, what am I saying, no driver, what, what I mean?
The autonomous vehicles. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of research that goes into that. And the building block technology, which we're going to get into in a minute, is already on many vehicles, and we're studying that.
Okay, good.
And, the news media covers our research, and they recognize the efforts that the insurance industry has made to make roads safer. And we get a lot of coverage.
I can't hear her, but I guess she's... I've seen this thing a lot of times.
Yeah, she's talking a lot about the research that we do, and the research that we've done over the years has influenced safety on the roads. This shows over time what's happened with crash deaths since 1950 through 2015. The blue line shows the up and down of the raw number of deaths every year. It's a staggering total every year. And the black line represents the overall trend as we drive more every year. So taking that into account, the more miles people are driving, the overall death rate, when you take into account those miles driven, has been on a steady decline over time. And much of the improved highway safety picture is due to vehicle designs improving. Vehicle designs have improved a lot over the last 50 years, not only because of crash testing done by the insurance industry and the federal government, but also because of the government regulations that have been put into place to make vehicles safe over time. This is just showing the actual, what you just saw on the last slide, the actual rate of motor vehicle crash deaths over time. But if we were to say if we could freeze the motor vehicle fleet that we had in 1985, and not make any further changes to it, this is what we would have seen over time.
Ooh, wow.
The death rate would have declined in the 1980s, 90s, but then it would have leveled off and started to increase again through the 2000s. And this is just showing that the influence of vehicle designs, if we hadn't had safer vehicles since 1985, we would have had a much worse picture out there on the road.
Do you guys actually legislate or lobby or whatever? Do you actually do that, or they come to you?
Yeah, we do not. We try to get our research out there so policymakers can hopefully make the right decisions.
Okay.
And this is just showing how far safety has come in 50 years. Look at these two cars crashing. This is a 1959 Chevrolet Bel Air crashing into a 2009 Chevy Malibu. They're representing the typical family sedan of their respective eras, and you can see how horrific it is in the interior of the 1959 Chevrolet with no seatbelts, no airbags. The occupant compartment just collapses in the 1959 car. But in the 2009 Malibu, it's a totally different story, and you see how the structure of the vehicle holds up, the airbag works, and together with the seatbelt.
I'll be darned.
And if that had been real people in that crash, the driver of the Malibu could have walked away without any serious injuries.
Amazing. Those are good pictures. I love those.
And this is showing how the crash tests that we do 5 crash worthiness evaluations, examining how well vehicles do in frontal crashes, rear end crashes for measuring whiplash, roof strength for rollovers, side impact. And our newest test is the front small overlap test, which is very challenging for the vehicle structure, which we started in 2012. And the difference can be dramatic over time, how vehicles have improved. Look at the 2001 Ford F-150 pickup at the top.
Yeah.
And its replacement at the bottom shows how much improvement we've seen also in side impacts with side airbags.
Wow. How about that?
And we've seen vehicles improve in how they protect people against whiplash in rear-end crashes. And
fascinating. Wow.
And roof strength has improved. This means that people are better protected in rollover crashes. And now we're seeing some of the same improvements in our new small overlap frontal test, where vehicles are performing better than they did just 4 years ago when we launched the test.
Look at those airbags in that one below. That was really something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the side airbags are programmed to deploy in a frontal crash like this to better protect people when that vehicle is moving sideways after the impact.
Fascinating.
This is just an example, shows how crash worthiness has improved over time. You want to see green here. Green means good, and the ratings improve over time as the manufacturers change designs. And an example up in the upper left-hand corner there, we started our moderate overlap frontal test in 1995. Many vehicles, more than half, were marginal or poor when we first started that test. Today, every vehicle we test is good. The manufacturers have adopted that test as part of their design process, and they're doing the same for the other 4 tests that we do.
Amazing. We'll never know how many lives you guys have saved over the years. Never know. It's unbelievable.
And there's no question that people are walking away from crashes today that they would have been seriously injured in
I can see
vehicles 20 years ago. And we know that this translates into safer vehicles when we compare vehicles that earned poor ratings in our test versus those that earned good ratings. We see the risk of injury and death is much lower in the good rated vehicles. So it's translating into better performance in actual crashes. And now something that you mentioned earlier on, we're hearing a lot about autonomous vehicles.
Right.
And fully autonomous driverless cars are still a long way off. There are still a lot of hurdles to get to a fully driverless car, but the technology that underpins the idea of driverless cars, the building block technology, is coming fast and is on many vehicles right now. We call it crash avoidance technology, the systems that are on vehicles to help drivers avoid crashing in the first place. And this is just a representation showing that little black rectangle represents a car, and these are the various sensors that are on many vehicles today to basically monitor the road all around the vehicle and help the driver know more about what's going on around the vehicle. And a vehicle that's actually smart, that can detect a crash and warn a driver of an impending crash, or even take action like automatically braking if the driver doesn't react fast enough.
God, that's amazing.
And all of this technology is available. This technology is available right now on vehicles, and we're seeing that some of it is being effective, like front crash prevention is working very well. we're looking at automatic braking systems on vehicles compared to vehicles that have the automatic braking system compared with those that don't. These are vehicles that also have a warning component that I mentioned, where they warn the driver first of an impending collision, and if the driver doesn't take action, the vehicle can automatically brake. And we're seeing significant reductions. In the middle there, a 50% reduction in police-reported rear-end crashes for vehicles that have these front crash prevention systems.
Wow, amazing.
And injuries are being prevented too, so that's an added benefit. Not only are we preventing crashes and the damage that occurs to vehicles, we're also preventing damage to people.
Good.
And we know that not only are these systems having an effect on police-reported crashes, we can also, through our insurance claim data, monitor what's happening with insurance claims, and we also see significant effects in reducing property damage liability claims as well as bodily injury liability claims. So damage to the vehicle that you hit.
Do you get reports from the auto insurers about claims and where,
Yes.
how, and all? You get that automatically from these guys, huh?
Yeah, they feed that into us, and it's aggregated, and we can feed it back in sort of as industry-wide data to show insurers by make and model insurance loss trends for vehicles, and we also publish that data so consumers can use it too to look at which vehicles have lower insurance losses, which means that the vehicles with the lower losses are likely to cost less to insure than similar vehicles with high losses.
Yeah, right. Good.
And we've done a lot of news releases related to our work on crash avoidance technology, and the media is covering what we're doing. Down at the bottom, you can see the estimated television audience on news programs for the two releases that we did in 2013 and 2014. Wow. 58 million to 79 million estimated audience figures for those. So the news media is very interested in this.
Absolutely. How about that?
And we're doing not only crashworthiness tests, but we're also looking at how these automatic braking systems are working out on track tests. And we're doing tests at 12 and 24 miles per hour. We drive the vehicles at this test buck. It's a foam inflatable vehicle. It represents the rear end of another car. And we drive the vehicle at it, and we measure how much speed is peeled off and whether the crash, if it had been a real situation, would have been avoided. And you can see how this works over on the left-hand side.
Ooh, good. Yeah.
Now, even though the crash isn't avoided, that middle Dodge Durango SUV did peel off some speed. So it's good if the crash is avoided. It's also good if the speed is reduced so that the crash is less severe.
That's fascinating.
We're rating vehicles on how well their crash prevention systems work, and we publish those results. And vehicles, in order to get our top rating, our top Safety Pick Plus rating overall, vehicles have to do well in all the crashworthiness evaluations, but they also have to have an advanced or superior rating for their front crash prevention system in our tests. This can be a optional system, because most of these are optional, but increasingly people going out to buy new cars this year and in the future will begin to see this kind of system standard equipment. The ratings are improving. We're seeing better performance. Just like we did with crashworthiness, we're seeing better performance over time with these crash avoidance, the front crash prevention systems. And 20 automakers have pledged, have made a commitment to make automatic braking, that's the AEB up there at the top, a standard feature by September 2022.
Oh, wow.
So we worked with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to get the automakers together to make this commitment, and doing this on a voluntary basis will allow it to happen much faster than it would have had the government regulated this. But we're seeing such
amazing
benefits from this that we thought it was important to get the automakers to make this commitment, and they have.
Well, Russ, if I were going to go out and look for a car, I want to buy a car, would I contact you, or could I contact you and ask you for what are the safest cars per se of these? Do you guys have that kind of a service?
Yeah, you can ask us, or you can go right to our website at iihs.org, and we have a vehicle ratings section where you can see all the things that I've been talking about.
Good.
And look up the vehicles that have the best ratings.
Good.
And speaking of our website, up at this is the home page of our website. You can see what I just mentioned, the ratings tab on the upper left-hand
I see it.
corner there. We also have sections for our news releases. You can go to the topics page and see all of the research areas that we have reports or studies or news releases on. We have a video section where you can see reporters can download video of crash tests if they're doing stories about our research.
Wow.
And we have a bi-monthly newsletter, or monthly to bi-monthly newsletter called Status Report, which is also listed there. And a lot of different ratings, not just the ones we've been talking about, but also we're rating vehicles on their headlight performance. We're also rating vehicles on how well child restraints, or how easy child restraints can be installed in the vehicle. And we also offer other kinds of information, like choosing the safest vehicle for your teen.
Yeah, great. That's beautiful.
So if you are an insurance agent, or you're a parent, or you want to provide this information to parents, this is a resource that we have to look for the safest used cars for teens.
You know, as you're telling that, I think this would be a good, I just want to mention that to the listeners, that this would be ideal for you to send, you as an agent, to send to your customers and prospective customers and help publicize the IIHS and the HLDI, but also give these actual numbers here, which are amazing.
And we're giving parents practical advice. You know, bigger is always safer.
Yeah.
Electronic stability control is a must. That's a feature that should be on every car that any car that a teen is driving. And vehicles should obviously have the best safety ratings. And we provide a list of used vehicles by price point that meet our criteria for safety for a teen. We also have educational videos that are available for purchase from the general public. Our members can use these videos for free, and they cover a wide range of topics and are often used in driver ed programs. They're also used in many schools to teach physics, for example.
Excellent. Great idea.
And you can see all the topics that we cover there.
Wow.
And we also have resources for our members that are not public. If you're a member of IHS, or you work for a company that's a member of IHS, we also have our HILDI reports, the Highway Loss Data Institute reports that we talked about earlier, which are based on insurance claim data. And we have a whole range of reports that cover everything from vehicle theft claims by make and model to what's happening with trends in vehicle animal crashes like deer strikes. So a lot of those reports are interesting from an insurance standpoint and are available to our members. So that gives you a good overview of the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety.
It's terrific, and I'm kind of knocked out with it. I mean, you and I've been talking about it a while, but I had no idea that it was in so much depth. And it's a heck of a story. Well, Russ, listen, you'll answer their questions. I know you, so you'll come back to them if they have any questions, for sure.
If anybody has any questions at all about what we offer the public or policymakers, or what we offer for membership with the Insurance Institute, please don't hesitate to contact us.
I'm glad that you give them that opportunity. I'm going to suggest to the agents who are listening to let your staff listen to this. Let them see it. And it's worthwhile. And the more we know about this, the more we can publicize it. And the more we publicize it, the better we are to help our people. So, Russ, thank you again for this. And I greatly appreciate the time and effort that you put into this, which was a lot. I can tell you that, because you worked on it very hard, and I admire you for that. So thank you. And for the rest of you, we'll see you again next Monday morning.